Hey guys, it's Travis at Functional Strength Wellness. I hope you're having a great new year so far. I just wanted to make this quick video because I just finished rereading a book of mine called Maximized Health by Dr. Andrea Maxim. She's a naturopathic doctor. And in the book, she talks about digestion and hormone health and how that's created to your overall health. And in particular, I wanted to make this video because I'm sure a lot of you have goals for 2016 to get your fittest ever, or at least get really fit. So in the book, she talks about the link between hormones and how the body likes to deposit fat in certain parts of the body depending on which hormones are out of place. So if you've ever done a diet before, or calorie counting, and you were doing everything right and you were exercising, but you just weren't seeing the results, this interview that I did an interview, a phone interview with her, and I was able to catch up with her and do one. So in the interview, she talks about which hormones you should be looking at and be getting tested if you're holding fat in certain parts of the body. So the belly fat pertains to one hormone, hips and thighs is another. If you have love handles around the sides and the back, that's yet another. So she talks about and she addresses that in this interview that's coming right up. And she also talks about the absolute essentials that you need to do to get these hormones back into balance so that you can truly move forward and make wellness a lifestyle, and looking fit and looking well a lifestyle, not such a challenge every year, not going up and down. So watch the interview and listen to it. It's got a lot of great information. I'm telling you, this is what I tell everyone to do, everyone I talk to, and I even learned a few new things myself. So take a listen, learn, apply it, and stay strong, and I'll talk to you after the interview. Hey guys, it's Travis at Functional Strength Wellness, and I'm chatting here with Dr. Andrea Maxim, author of Maximized Health, which is a great book, by the way, which you should read just to get healthy in general. In particular, I'm talking to Andrea today more so about how the body deposits fat at in certain parts of the body, depending on their levels of their hormones and any hormone imbalances. We're doing a clean to lean program, 6 months starting in January, and I know that everyone is very curious about certain areas of the body. Andrea, so the two that I saw that were most, prevalent, in which I see in my practice, personal training, and here owning the gym, is the belly fat and then the thigh fat. So basically, hormone fat. There's different hormones that can deposit fat at different parts of the body. So tell me a little bit about that.
So with regards specifically to that spare tire that nobody wants to be carrying around, we find predominantly that's where our stress hormone really likes to pack on extra fat, and that stress hormone is cortisol. Alternatively, if you're noticing more love handles, like if you're really noticing that sort of muffin top is starting to happen, especially towards the back, that is also a good sign of blood sugar imbalance. And how many of us, when we're stressed, also eat more sugary foods, more quick to convert carbs, and so the two kind of play hand in hand. When it comes to hips, buttocks, and thighs, the hormone we're looking at there is estrogen. And people will say, well, isn't estrogen a normal thing? Like, how could it deposit in one specific area? And the problem is our environment. Our environment is incredibly estrogen dominant in the personal care products we're choosing, in the foods that we're eating, in the fragrances that we're spraying on our bodies, the lotions. All of those things carry what we call xenoestrogens, or man-made estrogens.
Right.
And it's actually those estrogens that are packing the weight on our hips, buttocks, and thighs. And women will also comment on, more cellulite in that area too, and that's also a sign of estrogen dominance. So those are the two major hormones that we tend to treat the most, at least in my practice, and I'm sure with your clients. And that's definitely something that we all need to be paying attention to.
Wow. So they're very much interconnected, right?
Very much.
Right. So the stress hormone, the cortisol, would be the main one, can also lead to an insulin imbalance due to the carbohydrate cravings, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then the xenoestrogens. In your book, you talk about how we're just sort of flooded with these things too. And I've even seen it in men where they're starting to even get a little bit, I would say, almost hip heavy. Just because, and I never knew that before until I actually read your book. I just thought, these guys were just oddly shaped, but that's probably a good sign that they're being exposed to these xenoestrogens.
Well, that's just it. And especially with men, and that's the number one thing that I always get them to look at is get your hormone levels checked, get your testosterone levels checked, because for men, they shouldn't be presenting with that pear-like body shape. They shouldn't be presenting with what we call man boobs. Those are all places that estrogen likes to go. And the thing about environmental estrogen is I always present it as it's kind of like a hippo, and a hippo is coming into your body and it's literally sitting on all of your natural hormones. And for men to be low in testosterone, even as early as 20 or 30 years of age, is a real issue. And that's why we're finding men as they age, and with that exact body type that you described, are starting to be more depressed. They're starting to have more mood issues. They can't put on muscle. They can't maintain their muscle mass. And that's because their testosterone levels are being completely sequestered by these estrogen-like chemicals.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now regarding this as well, especially, and I've read up on some of the cortisol fat, the belly fat, that's also associated with other health risks as well. I've heard it referred to as, Syndrome X, metabolic syndrome, and all sorts of things. So tell us a little bit about that as well. So it's not just an aesthetic thing. A lot of people are always concerned, right?
Yeah.
I want to lose this. That's why they come to me. That's what I see a lot, right?
Right.
And I know that there's more to the picture than that, and I try to explain that to them. But I want people to hear this coming from you. That
Absolutely.
Be concerned about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to belly fat, there's actually two different kinds of fats that people have to be concerned about. One is just subcutaneous adipose tissue, which for anyone who's sitting at home watching this video, literally lean forward, and if you can grab your belly fat, that's actually a good thing. I know no one's looking at you. It's, if you can grab it, that's actually a good thing. That means that it's all outside of the organ tissues. It's just underneath the surface. It still isn't good for you, but you can lose it a lot quicker. The other kind of fat is what we call visceral adipose tissue, where literally the fat is marbleizing the organ systems. And that's why we're seeing people develop fatty liver disease, and yet alcohol isn't an issue. Their diet is relatively okay. And it's because the fat now is actually going inside the organ area as opposed to outside of it. And for those people, those are where they have that rock hard belly. Like you can't pinch it even if you wanted to. And as a woman, I'm always a little bit jealous. I'm like, he has a big belly, and yet you don't see the rolls. But in fact, it's actually more costly from a health perspective that's the case for men or women. And then with regards to even just assessing what your cardiovascular risk is, what your health risk is, no woman should have a waist. And by waist measurement, we're going from below the ribs to just above the hip bone. So don't go by your belly button, because your belly button for some people, depending on how much weight they're carrying, could be more towards their hip area or lower. So for hip measurement, it's always at the bottom of the rib cage to the top of your hip bone, somewhere in the middle. And for women should be no larger than 35 inches. For men should be no larger than 40 inches. And if you're approaching that area or exceeding it, you're starting to develop issues whether you feel it or not. That includes higher risk of heart disease, higher risk of insulin sensitivity, higher risk of cholesterol imbalances. And then, of course, we start to worry about the diagnosis of metabolic syndrome, as you mentioned. And metabolic syndrome is exactly that. Basically, your endocrine system, your metabolic system is completely shutting down. And the the worse that becomes, the harder it is for you to come back from it. So that's why, with you, Travis, and with me, we're always in the preventative medicine. We don't want you to reach critical red flag warning lights. We really want to make sure that you stay away from that area. So getting these things assessed personally for you that are watching, I would do that and say, what sort of responsibility do I need to be taking here, and how well am I doing at it? Do I need some extra help?
Wow. Now, $1 million answer is, so now that we know all this, what is the best way to go about fixing ourselves? Now, I know you give a complete outline in your book here, but basically, what are we going to do about this? And I got a feeling that you're going to talk about the 4 tiers of health here.
Yes.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
So my approach with my patients is very, very foundational. And it's the same sort of with you, Travis, when you're focusing on primitive movements, getting in the 7 basic movements that everybody should be able to accomplish. It's no different than my approach. So the 4 tiers, and I've actually added an extra tier, so we'll do 5 tiers now, is managing your stress. Number 1, foundational tier. If we don't start to manage our stressors, I'm not saying avoid stress, because that's never going to happen. But if we can't start managing them, then everything else that comes above that really isn't going to get you to where you want to be with regards to optimal health. Number 2, we have to be removing any triggers that could be preventing our body from being able to achieve optimal health, whether that be heavy metal exposure, whether that be food sensitivities, whether that's hormonal imbalances. Anything like that must be identified and removed. Then the next one is to detoxify. So no matter how healthy you are, guys, if you're living in North America, you're being exposed to toxins. Air, water, food, you name it. If you're walking outside and there's a little bit of traffic, you're being exposed to toxins from those cars. So we need to make sure that our body is detoxifying on a regular basis. The 4th tier is to make sure that we are monitoring our acid-alkaline balance. The more acidic our body is, the more everything is going to melt away. Hormones, immune system, our ability to lose weight, because your body holds on to everything. The more inflamed it is, the more in panic mode it is, and it's not going to let go very well. And then most importantly, in the top tier is making sure you're flooding your body with nutrients. And I've seen people time and time again that are losing weight but aren't eating the food that their body requires. They're exercising like crazy, and yet they hit a stop. Like their body isn't going to give up anymore. That's because all of your toxins that you've been exposed to are sitting in your fat cells. If your body isn't able to detoxify those toxins, if your body is overly acidic, if you're not taking in the right nutrients to support these processes, what do you think is going to happen to those toxins? They're just going to go right back to those fat cells that once released them. Or the body's going to pack on more as a protective mechanism. So losing weight really does become a full-time job in order to get you out of those sort of red flag areas. And with my patients, and I'm sure you've seen with your clients, it is not a quick fix. I mean, there's methods that we can do to get you started really, really quickly and start getting you those results. But the maintenance predominantly is anywhere from 3 to 6 to 12 months before you really achieve those results that you were looking for. And we're so focused on quick fixes.
Totally.
And we're also focused on making goals that are completely unattainable. So we do have to kind of take a step back and allow things to happen gradually so that they are sustainable and that they last. Yo-yo dieting has actually been shown to be worse for you in the long run, in the fact that it creates more inflammation, it creates more free radicals, which is actually putting you more likely to develop a chronic disease than if you just gently maintain and lose weight properly. So if you're not doing the 5 tiers, my approach, if we're not with exercise focusing on your 7 primitive movements, then we're not creating that foundation of long-term success. And that's really what we're going for here.
Well, yeah, completely true. And regarding the exercise component, another thing, this is just a little bonus here for people, but if your body is under all of this stress and it's toxic and everything like that, intense exercise can actually just be another added stressor that the body can't handle, which will just keep digging that grave and that putting that fat onto the body still. So that's where I see people. They're basically overtraining, even though they might be not be doing that much because they're not capable of it, but it's just that their body isn't ready for it.
Absolutely. And I can say from my perspective, like, yeah, I'm a naturopath and I eat pretty okay, but I won't exercise to a level any more than just walking 30 minutes a day because my body can't handle it. I can't handle going for an intense run or doing an intense workout because I need to take like a 2 to 3 hour nap afterwards. I don't feel well after working out intensely, and it's because, you know, being a mom, being a business owner, being a wife, doing this, that, or the other thing, you know, my body personally can only take so much. And this is also something that people need to kind of come to terms with as well, is that sometimes what you see other amazingly fit people doing, it's not necessarily going to work for you, because if your body is crashing afterwards, if you don't feel more energized and better after your workout, you're not working out properly.
Yeah, it's all about hormone balance, and this is what I got also from the Czech Institute. Every single exercise session has a hormonal consequence.
Yep.
And whether your body's able to respond to that consequence is really what we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we're trying to achieve hormonal and nervous system balance, and that will actually give you your optimal body or form. It's not just about killing it in the gym and burning calories. And I know that there's either 6-week challenges, 90-day challenges, whatever challenges that are very focused on just on cutting calories, cleaning up the food a little bit. But really, if you're a person that has battled being overweight for many years, and you find that you're holding weight in these particular patterns, either in the belly, hips, and thighs, it's very likely that they need to address, like you just said, get your hormones checked and address it from a holistic point of view. And then there's also going to be supplements that are going to help with people. If you're that far gone, you're going to do the 4 tiers, but the detoxification, I guess that's where certain supplements would come in. You don't
absolutely.
And thing about that right now, but
yeah, and with regards to supplements, and that's something else that I find a lot of people gravitate towards, and this is a bit of a digression, but I have patients right now that'll say, oh, I saw on TV that this one's supposed to help with weight loss. Oh, I saw somewhere that vitamin E everybody needs. Oh, I saw that this supplement is what everybody needs. And people come to me with handfuls. I've had one person bring a sports bag full of supplements, and they had no idea why they were taking them other than they heard that it worked for their friend or it worked for this. My patients leave with no more than 2 or 3 supplements at a time, and that's because they all serve a purpose, and then eventually we get them onto, let's say, even one that's a maintenance. So this is the other thing too, is supplementation I think is necessary, especially the way that our soil is being so depleted. And this is really where you came into my book, Travis, as I interviewed you all on the nutrition side of it. So in the back of the book, you'll see people that contributed, and Travis was one of them. I know. And so there are basic ones. Like, I think everyone should be on a fish oil because it's an essential fatty acid. I think everyone should be on a high quality, not from the drugstore, not from Costco, a high quality multivitamin. And I also think people should be taking vitamin D, especially if you live in North America. So those are the basic 3. And yet people are coming into me with 10 more on top of it. And no one wants to be popping pills, and no one wants to be taking a handful of supplements either. So please keep all that in mind too, that it doesn't have to be so taxing on your wallet to achieve optimal health either. You just need to be talking to the right people.
Yeah. And remember guys, and I think what you were getting at too is that supplements, even though they're not classified as pharmaceuticals or anything like that, but they should be more prescriptive rather than just take a bunch of everything, because if not, as you say in your book, you're going to just have really expensive urine.
That's it. Or poop.
Right?
Or poop.
Right? So take what you need and not more than that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great, Andrea. I think you've answered everything that I wanted to know.
Good.
So yeah, I hope everyone watching got something out of this. This kind of stuff is highly valuable, and the fitness industry is slowly starting to meld with the true wellness industry. And it used to be health and fitness industry, but I don't think it was really like that way before. And there's still some segregation between the two, but this is what it takes, is actually getting to know true health, which is the hormone balance, digestion, and all that sort of thing, and knowing that guys, your external body is really an expression of your internal vitality and health. So and that works in my experience from a holistic and a natural point of view. So I'm just going to put the book up again, because this book has really shed some good light. It's Maximize Health. Can you see that there?
Yes, I can, at least.
Yeah, everyone else should. So now, where can people get this? Now, I'm going to buy some e-copies of this, and I'm going to give these away just because I just think they're valuable. So the first, I don't know how many people I'm going to buy them for, to click the button below is going to get this as a free gift from me. But where else can people get this book?
So the book is actually being sold at Goodness Me in Burlington and Hamilton. You can buy it on my website, themaximmovement.com. What was I thinking? I was thinking of the title.
You're thinking of the title of the book.
www.themaximmovement.com. And if you do become a patient of mine, you get a copy for free anyway.
Well, there you go. So guys, if you need a little bit more guidance, seek out a qualified professional like Dr. Andrea, and she'll really get you on the right path. Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
And to everyone else, have a great day, and watch for the next video. Stay strong.
Well, hey guys, that was some pretty powerful testimony from Dr. Andrea. So just to recap the interview, we learned that your fat storage is highly influenced by your hormonal profile, and that your hormones are dictated by basically your lifestyle. Basically, we found that cortisol, your stress hormone, can deposit fat underneath the muscle in a visceral fat, marbleizing it, and that's also linked to other detrimental things such as Syndrome X or metabolic syndrome. Estrogen dominance is more on the hips and thighs, and insulin dominance, or a problem with blood sugar management, is the fat that you can grab in and around your belly and even around to the back, that back fat. So she also got into her 5 tiers or her 5 pillars on how to correct this from a lifestyle point of view. So just to recap that, number 1 is stress management. Number 2 is removing any of the triggers that may be causing these imbalances. 3 is a good detoxification. 4, pH balance, or balancing your acid alkaline. And 5, flooding the body with good nutritious organic food. We also learned that supplementation shouldn't just be more of the latest craze, and that they should be looked at as highly prescriptive. She did recommend 3 good ones for everyone though, which was a high quality fish oil, a high quality multivitamin, and a high quality vitamin D. I hope you learned a lot. This is really valuable information. Again, her book is Maximize Health. You can get it online. There's ebook or electronic versions of it as well, or you can get it at Goodness Me grocery store. Watch out for our next video. I'm going to be teaching you 2 assessments that I do with my personal training clients to ensure that they get the most out of their programs, to give them the safest and best effects out of their program. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay strong.